Yesterday, Putin had a phone conversation with Trump, and then, right after that, right on the United States Independence Day, he demonstratively carried out the largest missile attack on Ukraine. And all of this happened against the backdrop of discussions about the weapons that Washington decided to hold back and, for now, not deliver to Kyiv. At the same time, today in Ukraine, people once again welcomed those who, for 3 years, had not received a single word from home because they were held in Russian torture chambers. The TSN team will report on the results of the 1,227th day of the full-scale war in the United Marathon. Channel 1+1 will be with you on air all the way until morning. And we begin with some good news. Another group of Ukrainian defenders has returned home. Today, another prisoner exchange took place. Among those released are the severely wounded, the seriously ill, as well as servicemen. They are younger than 25 years old. In addition to soldiers and sergeants, today we also managed to free some officers. Among those released are, in particular, defenders of Mariupol who had been held in captivity for more than 3 years. It was also possible to free from Russian captivity those illegally convicted by the Russians, both Ukrainian military personnel and civilians. And the youngest of those released is only 20 years old. We will definitely talk during this TSN episode about their first moments back on home soil, about their emotions and reunions. The Solomiansky district of the capital suffered the most from the night attack. TSN correspondent Natalia Nahorna will tell us more about the morning after that terrible night.
It was a hard and loud night in Kyiv. 11 missiles and 300 shahids. Fires are burning. Thick smoke covers the night sky. Kyivans wake up in a stinking fog. The morning sky is black. The night air raid in Kyiv lasted 8 hours and 49 minutes, and just 14 minutes after the all clear in the morning, a new alert began. The camera can't capture it in advance, but right now the city is just filled with smoke. Right now we're on Volodymyrska Hill near the pedestrian bridge, and you can hardly see the left bank at all. This is what Kyiv looks like right now. The left bank is just completely covered in smoke. It's actually hard to breathe. Dmytro and Lyudmila are walking their dog at the observation deck, despite everything.
This is Arya.
Arya, girl, come here. She's just playing here, despite the situation. Show them. It's sad to see, but we're not giving up. What else can we do? Just stop living. In the morning, Kyiv residents once again have to put on masks because there's a very strong smell of burning in the air. It's actually hard to breathe, just like during the old COVID days. Today, metro stations became shelters for tens of thousands. Reports of Russians preparing to attack Ukrainian cities. The capital. Messages appeared in public channels. Kyiv residents prepared, taking subway shelter spots from evening. People came right away with makeshift beds and their pets. Last night, there were up to a dozen missile strikes, and in a regular shelter, it was very loud. The number of injured keeps rising. There are definitely more than 20 of them. At this point, it's already known that the enemy launched over 330 shahids, Kinzhals, and 10 Iskanders at Ukraine. Right now, we are standing near one of the buildings that was hit last night. As you can see, the 5-story building is partially destroyed. Many people have been left without apartments, but for now, it's known that there are no fatalities at this location. We can see that slabs are hanging and the debris is still being cleared. At the moment, we are working at 6 locations. The total number of rescuers working here is over 530, and 152 units of primary and specialized equipment have been deployed. In addition, we have engineering equipment, K9 teams, robotic systems, everything that's needed. At one of the locations, once again, we are deploying our SES helicopter for the fastest possible fire suppression. Today, one of the fire and rescue units also came under fire, so rescuers are not only risking their lives during rescue operations, but even while being at their stations. I was at home at night, in the hallway, hiding. The kids went to the village with the dog. But me, where am I supposed to run? I have a bedridden patient. So we were lying there in the hallway, and the sounds were terrifying. It was a nightmare, one after another, one after another. Then there were these explosions, and I realized it was somewhere here, near this house.
Vroke, in the aftermath of the highly anticipated and strategically crucial NATO summit, a momentous and pivotal international gathering that convened in the historic and politically significant city of The Hague, a location renowned for its diplomatic importance, it was observed that the assembled leaders of the alliance, representing a diverse array of member nations from across the globe, each with their own national interests and geopolitical considerations, were dedicating an extraordinary and unprecedented amount of effort, resources, and diplomatic maneuvering. These high-ranking officials, the very heads of state and government, were literally undertaking every conceivable measure, every diplomatic overture, and every strategic concession imaginable with the explicit, undeniable, and clearly discernible intention of appeasing, gratifying, and ultimately satisfying the then President of the United States, Donald Trump. This concerted, highly visible, and often perplexing effort to cater to his preferences, demands, and frequently unpredictable inclinations was particularly evident and strikingly apparent during a specific, notable, and critically important period. During this time, these influential officials, the most powerful figures within the alliance, spent an extended, critical, and highly sensitive duration, specifically almost an entire hour, engaged in private, confidential, and deeply significant discussions with him. These discussions took place behind securely closed doors, meticulously shielded from the public eye, the intense scrutiny of the international press, and the prying ears of observers, both friendly and adversarial. This deliberate act of privacy underscored the critical nature of their interactions, the perceived necessity of addressing youth concerns, and the paramount importance of securing his cooperation and continued commitment within the broader framework of the alliance's collective objectives, its future direction, and its ongoing stability in an increasingly complex and rapidly changing geopolitical landscape, where unity and cohesion were deemed essential for collective security and influence.
Therefore, most likely, these exchanges will continue, and ours will be returned. They will be brought back as information comes in about exactly whom the Russians are holding. From Chernihiv region, Nelly Kowalska, Mariana Bukana, Iyer Syriai, Danilo Lysenko, and Andriy Romanov. TSN 1+, Marathon. United News.
Who exactly, and for what reasons, is blocking American aid from reaching Ukraine? A shipment of rockets and ammunition that was already in Poland has been blocked. This shocked us, Europeans, and even many American officials and politicians. Against this backdrop, first there were another round of phone talks between Trump and Putin, and then the next day, a conversation between Trump and Zelensky. According to informed sources cited by a reporter from the American outlet Axios, this last conversation lasted about 40 minutes. All the details about who actually benefits from the delay of the Patriots in Poland, specifically those allocated to Ukraine by Biden and a previous Congress, are still to come. More on this will be covered by TSN's international correspondent, Jana Sletserchuk.
Without any press commentary, Zelensky mentioned where Trump himself had promised a Ukrainian journalist, the wife of a serviceman.
They really want these systems. Patriot. We'll see if we can get a few. They're very hard to get.
America is once again blocking the aid that was allocated by the previous president.
They simply held up a shipment in Poland that was already on its way to Ukraine. Among other things, it contained 252 guided missiles for HIMARS, 142 Hellfire missiles, 30 Patriot missiles, and 25 other missiles.
Stinger 8,500 shells. Within 2 days, Trump himself denies this on camera.
Why did you stop supplying weapons to Ukraine?
We didn't stop. We continue to provide weapons. But we are giving so many weapons. We are giving weapons. We are working with them and trying to help them.
State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce confirmed on camera there was a delay in Poland.
Where there were changes.
Everyone heard to journalists, American outlets, New York Times, and political Pentagon decision. Made as political, citing anonymous sources, leadership person. Elbridge Colby, Director Policy Department Defense. Slogan, this weapon.
We need it more ourselves, at least in the State Department, the American equivalent of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Nobody knew anything about this. And that's despite the fact that Marco Rubio is not just the Secretary of State under Trump, but also serves as the acting National Security Advisor. It becomes clear where this is coming from, doesn't it?
Colby, whose candidacy for this position was promoted by U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance, angered former Secretary of State and CIA Director Mike Pompeo.
Ukraine never asked America to send paratroopers from the 82nd Brigade. They asked for weapons so they could defend their homeland and their people from Russian attacks themselves. If we allow Russia to win the war, it will be an irreversible disaster for the American people and our security around the world.
Defense Ministry spokesperson's response was extremely vague.
The Pentagon is not ready to report to the public.
Well, from the very beginning, the president's strategy regarding Ukraine and Russia was aimed at peace. He stated this even during his election campaign, saying he just wants to stop people from dying. Here in the department, we support these goals and missions. We have established a framework to analyze which munitions and where we send them, to help the President and the Secretary of Defense make decisions.
Congress is currently paralyzed because of the bill. It's important for taxes and the national debt. Voices dissatisfied with the halt in supplies are being heard even in Trump's favorite media outlets. Yes, in a column.
The New York Post states blocking American aid destroys ceasefire possibility as Putin won't stop. Similarly, a Fox News military expert emphasizes this reinforces Putin's belief he's one step from victory. Ukrainian authorities maintain a neutral tone.
Right now, at the working level, Ukraine and the U.S. are clarifying all the details regarding the supply of defense support, including the air defense component. One way or another, we have to ensure protection for our people.
On the eve of American Independence Day, Trump has a phone conversation with Putin, and this conversation confirms the worst assessments.
Tomorrow morning, I'll talk to President Zelensky. And you know, I'm very disappointed by the conversation I had today with President Putin. Because I don't think he's listening to me. No, I don't think so. And I'm very disappointed. I don't think he wants to stop. And that's very bad.
Just a few hours after that, one of the largest combined attacks on Kyiv begins, with Shahids, Kinzhols, ballistic and cruise Iskanders. This provokes an outraged reaction even from some Republican congressmen.
Today, Europe learned about another massive attack on Ukraine and another record-breaking number of weapons used by Russia. The head of Ukraine's Ministry of Foreign Affairs believes that in this way, Vladimir Putin is showing his disdain to Donald Trump. The shelling happened shortly after their phone conversation. In other words, Estonian diplomats saw in this Russia's determination to continue destroying Ukrainian cities and people, while the German chancellor is now openly pointing out that phone conversations between Trump and Putin are often followed by brutal shelling. The German government hopes that Washington will strengthen sanctions against Russia. According to media reports, the Polish foreign minister says that American weapons have gotten stuck on their way to Ukraine. He called on the U.S. president to resume deliveries.
A massive Russian attack last night caused fires and inflicted significant damage, including to the Polish consulate in Kyiv. President Trump, Putin is mocking your peace efforts. Please resume the supply of anti-aircraft munitions to Ukraine and impose new, tougher sanctions against the aggressor.
Ukraine is receiving weapons from its European partners and has made significant progress with its own developments. However, the American Patriots and their missiles, which can intercept ballistic strikes, cannot be replaced at this time. And just recently, Volodymyr Zelensky confirmed this. A few weeks ago, Trump promised to look into what could be done, considering that Ukraine is in urgent need of strengthening its air defense. Germany is conducting negotiations with Washington regarding the purchase of these systems, and today the government confirmed this fact. More details to follow. We know about this from a publication by Bild. Berlin has requested 2 systems and is ready to pay for them. However, now there are concerns in Germany that the Pentagon might refuse due to the suspension of arms supplies to Ukraine. However, the new American administration has already made decisions to delay aid to Ukraine. And in the past, this has happened several times, sometimes just within a few days. They would cancel it, meaning the supplies would resume after a short break.
Thank you. Radio Svoboda's correspondent in Brussels, Zoriana Stepanenko, reported live on TSN about the European reaction to the American disruptions regarding the supply of weapons to Ukraine and the EU's further plans. Meanwhile, China says it will not allow Russia to lose the war against Ukraine. This was reportedly stated by Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi during talks with his EU counterpart, Kaja Kallas. According to the South China Morning Post, citing sources familiar with the closed-door talks, the discussion lasted 4 hours and was quite tense. The Chinese diplomat told Kallas that a Kremlin defeat is not in his country's interests, because in such a scenario, he said, the United States would then focus all its attention on them. At the same time, Beijing denies any involvement in this war. They categorically deny that they are helping Russia either financially or... And in military terms, Because, according to the official, if that were true, the war would have ended a long time ago.